Hello everyone. Thanks for sticking with me if you came here for my previous video. If not, check out this link. It's me rambling about the pros and the cons of the horror genre in general. But for right now, I want to talk to you about, something I've had rambling around my head for a few years now. Now, for better or worse, I'm an idea guy. Always have a lot of things going around in my head, but don't necessarily have the skills or the resources to bring it into the real world. So I want to talk to you about what is to me my dream horror survival game. One I would love to make, but if any of you out there are programmers, and game developers, please feel free to steal this idea. Just, you don't even necessarily have to give me credit, just do it right for the love of God. To start out with, though, I want to talk to you about a facet of the horror genre that I didn't discuss in the previous video, and that is empowerment, or rather the lack thereof. In many horror films, and especially in a lot of horror games, the way that the horror is brought about is that you or the protagonist you are following / playing has very little, power or ability to defend themselves. In some cases, with games, your only recourse is to run and hide. Now, I'm not saying this is necessarily doing it wrong. It certainly can be, especially in a lot of slasher films. It almost develops into an idiot plot with some of the stuff there. But, that's, again, going back to my previous video, it's a lot of the kind of stuff I'm bitching about. But, there is another way to go. Now, one thing I always liked about Naoki Urasawa's Monster, our main characters are making very good, or at least well-educated, decisions throughout the story. It's just that what they are going up against is so much greater than them. That's where the fear and challenge comes from. And that's exactly the kind of game I want to make. And exactly why it needs to be done right. Because if it's done wrong, it'll be terrible. This is a game where it's like, do it right or don't do it at all. How would you like a game that combined Horizon Zero Dawn, Outlast, and Steel Battalion? It is a first-person, cockpit view, mecha sim, horror survival game. I know that sounds like it doesn't work, but just, again, stick with me on this. So, I'll paint for you the first few moments of the game. So, brief backstory. Some kind of Matrix-y stuff went down. Humans created robots. Robots rebelled, built their own civilization. Now we're at war with them. Kind of getting our butts kicked, but it's going back and forth. So we battle them with mech suits. And I have to specify, the mechs need to be very lo-fi here. If we had mech warrior redesigns of Armored Core designs, that's about what we'd be dealing with. So, it starts out, you are a green recruit, just out of, basic training, going on. You've had a few skirmishes, but you're going into your first battle, albeit a short one. You have this big, carrier ship. You get in, and they drop you off, and it's like some open sandy desert, no real difficult terrain. And the strike point is you have the robots, leaving one of their what I like to call husk cities, human cities that have been taken over and just sort of overrun with these things and transformed into almost a sort of hive. So they're migrating from one to another, and it is your unit's job to strike at the stragglers of this and just, take out as many of them as you can while minimizing your own casualties. So, you and your AI buddies, fight alongside each other, take them down. So this is basically a tutorial, sort of in the vein of Mega Man X, where you're thrown in a situation where you have to learn the controls without having, a long drawn-out tutorial. For the base controls anyway, more nuanced. Things will come in later, of course. So anyway, you get in your dropship or your carrier ship or whatever, and you're leaving. But then due to some kind of either weather or an attack, enemy unit, you have to veer and cross over what you believe to be an emptied husk city. However, as you're flying over it, AA batteries come online, knock your ship out of the sky. You manage to bail out in your mech, and you land more or less safely in this darkened, overgrown, overshadowed, crumbling streets with, decaying ruins of skyscrapers around you as you just barely see your ship burning and exploding in the sky. So now, you are alone in a city you thought was deserted, but you're seeing all these things scurrying off in the distance. And the only thing you have to defend yourself with is whatever ammunition you had left over from that previous battle, as you had not had a chance to resupply. Here's where the real game starts. So, first off, you'll have like a technical manual you can bring up, but it's not going to be, a prompted tutorial. It's, look it up for your own information in terms of like specific manipulation of the mech systems. Although one thing you will be, you need to, manage your mech's power by powering down different systems, not necessarily to keep it running for long enough, but to avoid detection. So the whole game, yes, it's first-person cockpit view, but it's going to be all like dark with red backup lighting in an already dark city, and you're going to have to traverse this wasted city with giant mechanical monsters seeking you out. Trying to scrounge for resources, manage your ammunition. There are going to be parts where you'll have to actually get out of your mech to, go into a small building or something. One thing, though, that I think that would be important is kind of like in the first Silent Hill, when you go inside some of the houses, it's almost a sort of safe zone. So this would be like, you find like an old factory or something that's hidden enough to where you can, effect repairs or something like that. But other than that, it's pretty much the next step you take could be your last. And here, we don't have to deal with, BS, tank controls like we had in Resident Evil, because the excuse for the clunky controls is, oh, it's a mecha sim. So, and again, it's all about that giving you power, but then showing you how useless that power actually is in the face of your current predicament. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think. That's just, something I've always wanted to do. It'll probably never get made, but, hey, a guy can dream. But, thank you for listening to a crazy old dreamer rant. Have a good day, and if this video isn't out too late, happy Halloween.